What is up, guys? My name is Brandon, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to take astrophotography pictures, which is basically just a fancy way of saying take pictures of the stars or the Milky Way or things like that. And you might think you need like some crazy zoom lens or like this super expensive camera, but you can do this with a pretty cheap camera or even your cell phone. Although in this video I'm not going to be showing you how to do it on your cell phone, but you can find apps that will let you do this, and the settings will be pretty much the same thing as what I'm using with my camera. So you could technically follow along this tutorial with a cell phone app, but for the sake of this video I'm just going to be showing you guys how to do it on my camera. But the settings will be pretty much the same on any camera. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so first you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a tripod. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. I just have this tripod. I've had it for years, and it's fine. It works great. Nothing crazy, but you just need something to keep your camera stable, because you are going to need it to be as still as possible when you're taking pictures. So keep that in mind. Of course, you're also going to need a camera or a smartphone. And that's pretty much all you're going to need as far as hardware goes. But you're also going to need to be looking out for a good day to go shooting. Or I should say night, actually. But the times that you're going to want to be shooting astrophotography are more dark, cold nights with no clouds. If you have clouds in the sky at night, you're not going to be able to do this, because obviously you're just going to be taking pictures of the clouds and not the stars. So it's just not going to look very good. So you're going to be wanting to look for a clear, cold night, and you're going to want to go somewhere far away from a city or where there's low light pollution. I'll put a link in the description below to a light pollution map where you can see the closest places that have no light, or you can just find areas near you with lower light pollution than where you are. For me, I took these pictures that I'm going to be showing you guys in a pretty heavily light polluted area. So you can take astrophotography pictures in high light pollution, but they're not going to turn out as good or clear as if you would be taking them in a area with no light pollution. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, let's get on to the tutorial. Alright guys, so the settings you're going to want to use when shooting astrophotography, for my camera I tend to use ISO 400. So to change that, you can just go to Function, scroll over to ISO 400. Make sure your f-stop is as low as possible, or wide open as they say, because you want to let as much light in as possible. And then you're also going to want to change your shutter speed to, you want to go to the seconds meter. So go all the way down until you see the the quotation mark sign, and then go to, I do about 13 or 15 for mine, but it just depends on your camera. The 500 rule will help. If you divide the number of millimeters your camera is shooting at, the number of millimeters your lens is shooting at, by 500, you will find the number of seconds you can keep the shutter open before the stars form light trails. So for mine, I think it's like 17 seconds is the max I can do. So I just keep it at about 13 or 15. But I found that 13 seconds usually gives me the right amount of light to do that. So those are the main settings. I'm also going to show you settings in the menu. Obviously, you're going to want to have the highest image size. I would recommend doing RAW and JPEG, flash off, manual focus, white balance I put at daylight or auto, long exposure, noise reduction off, steady shot is off because you're going to have a tripod anyway. And I believe that's pretty much it. Focus peaking you can have on or off if you want. And yeah, also when you're taking a picture of the stars, make sure your focus is set to infinity. So a good way to do that is to find the moon and focus on the moon, and then point to wherever you're wanting to shoot at And yeah, so now I'm going to show you guys some pictures of the stars that I've taken, just so you guys can see some examples of that. Alright, so here are some examples of some pictures I took of the stars the other day. Um, this first one I took just right out here outside my window, and I actually put it on ISO 400, which is, it's just too low. It doesn't allow enough light in to the picture, so it makes it so it's noisy. Especially if you zoom in, there's a lot of noise, and you can't really see that many stars, and just the picture in general is really dark. So here's another one. This next one is pretty much the same exact picture, but a higher ISO. I'm pretty sure this one's on either 1600 or 3200. But this one, if you zoom in, you can see a lot more stars. The picture is a lot brighter. The tree is a lot more focused, and there's a lot more color in the tree and the sky. And just applying a quick edit onto this picture, you can see that it looks really good, a lot better than the 400 ISO one. So you're definitely going to want to use either 1600 or 3200 ISO. Probably for cheaper cameras, stick with probably like 1600, and if the image is too dark, you can probably leave the shutter open for 15 seconds instead of 13. But it's a trial and error process. You just want to do keep trying different things, and whichever one looks the best, that's the one you want to stick with. It's going to be a little different for each camera. So yeah. And then the next picture is one I took in my front yard. This one I put on 200 ISO, which is definitely way too dark, but I did have to bring it down a little bit because the moon was right to the right of that picture. And so the moon was casting a lot of light into my picture. But if I had to do this one over again, I'd probably put it at about 800 ISO and then edit it to make it darker afterwards, because it's just a really pretty dark image, and you can't see that many stars. I think it still looks pretty good, but if you zoom in, it's pretty grainy. So I would use a higher ISO for that as well. That's some examples of pictures you guys could take, and this is in a very highly light polluted area. If you go to somewhere with very low light pollution, your pictures are going to be amazing. So I'm going to try to do that sometime soon. Go to somewhere with very low light pollution and take some sweet pictures like that. I also might make a video on taking astrophotography pictures with your phone as well. I might also do a more in-depth tutorial on how to do these astrophotography pictures. Also, I could do a tutorial on how to edit these pictures. That could be a good video idea as well. But if you guys have any other ideas, or if you like some of these ideas I mentioned, just hit me up in the comments below and tell me which ones you like and your ideas. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot from it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.